Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is on a path of major reform. We are transforming our country. We believe that we need to reduce our dependence on oil. We need to empower our youth. We need to empower our women. We need to open up our economy. We need to open up new areas for investments, such as recreation, entertainment, mining, and other areas, tourism, and other areas. We believe that in order to accomplish this, we need to have efficient, accountable, transparent government. That's what we're working on. We're fighting against corruption. We're working on setting benchmarks for every ministry to achieve between now and 2030. And we believe that if we can do this, we will unleash the potential of our citizens, in particular our youth. Our country is a young nation. 70% of our people are under the age of 30. They have hopes, dreams, and ambitions. They are well connected to the world. We are probably definitely one of the most connected countries in the world in terms of social media and in terms of access. We have had 500,000 of our young men and women study at universities all around the world, from Japan to the US. They will come back and enrich our country. I believe half of them or more have already graduated and come back. And so we need to give them the opportunity to excel. And when they excel, our country rises and we become stronger. And the stronger we become, the more immune we will be to the problems around us. And so that is the path that we're embarking upon. We're fighting extremism very vigorously. We're pushing back against intolerance. We want to have a country in which normal people lead normal lives. We want to have a country that is economically efficient, economically prosperous, and we want to have a country that, as a result of this, will be a very stable country. This is our vision. There's a dark vision that the Iranians are pushing, which is ignore your people, focus on exporting your revolution, stoke the fires of sectarianism, divert your resources from economic development to supporting militias and adventures abroad, and if your people don't like it, crack down hard. That vision cannot prevail. History has shown us that light always triumphs over darkness, and I have no doubt that the vision that we are working towards is the one that will prevail. We have huge investments. In the largest refinery complex in the US is owned by Saudi Aramco. The largest chemical complex, probably in the world, is in Saudi Arabia, and it's owned by Dow and Aramco. So we have a lot of investments, both American investments in Saudi Arabia and Saudi investments in the US, and we continue to look for those. Now we're looking at things like local content. We want to be part of the supply chain of American defense contractors, so that when we buy equipment from the US, a certain percentage of it is manufactured in Saudi Arabia. We can then acquire the expertise and the technology, and then we can manufacture for products that go from those companies to other countries. So we're looking at this very seriously. We have an office for strategic partnerships that is looking at a lot of opportunities for investments by American companies in Saudi Arabia and by Saudi companies and the Saudi government, the Public Investment Fund in the US. We're trying to develop Saudi Arabia as a transportation hub. Almost 13% of the world's trade goes through the Red Sea, yet we don't have any logistics in the Red Sea for that. We want to develop this. We want to build a futuristic city in the north of Saudi Arabia called Neom that will focus on artificial intelligence, robotics, clean energy, renewable energy, that will focus on technology, that will act as an incubator so that we can bring young, innovative people with ideas to Saudi Arabia so we can invest in them. We're looking at investing in tourism and in entertainment and recreation, and we're looking at American companies. We've identified many American companies that can be helpful in this, healthcare. So that's we intend to take what is already a very, very large economic relationship with the US and take it to an even higher level. And the third question...
Human rights.
Oh, human rights. Yes, of course, human rights is part of our reform effort. And when you look at Saudi Arabia and you look at what has happened over the last 50 years, the trajectory is very clear. First, we think you have the right to security. You have the right to education. You have the right to healthcare. You have the right to opportunity. When you secure those, which we have, then you look at other things. If you look at our political system and participation in Saudi Arabia, we went from no government institutions to institutions. We established a consultative council in the early 90s, 60 members, fairly limited powers. Now it has 150 members. 20% of them are women, and they have much broader powers than they had before. We have human rights organizations, a private one and a public one. We have opened up the space in terms of our media and public discussion and public discourse. We are, as I mentioned, probably the most connected people on social media in the world, which I can't say about the Iranians. Their foreign minister has a Twitter account, but he can't tweet in Farsi because nobody has access to Twitter in Iran. So he's addressing his words to you. He should be addressing them to his people. We don't have that problem. And so we're moving forward in those areas. We're looking at our laws. We're looking at improving the training of judges, and we're looking at codifying laws so that we have more clarity in terms of how, it's like in your system you have sentencing guidelines. We're looking at things like this to improve it, and it will improve. Women can drive come June. Women can attend sports events. We appointed a minister for women's sports. The guardianship system is changing. The limitations are being relaxed. One of our senior ulama, religious scholars, issued an important statement saying women don't have to wear a black abaya. Who says it has to be black? The Quran says modest dress. We have now entertainment in public spaces. We have concerts, which was not available a few years back. So it's evolving. And I think, and on the issue of human rights, it will continue to evolve because it has to evolve. We know this. And we're moving in that direction.